St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist. Tuesdays and Thursdays with us, stltoday.com, and of course, the newspaper on your front stoop. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, McGraw. Good morning, Kelly.
Hi,
Welcome
Tony.
back. Were you gone for like, what, month and a half?
I was gone for like 5 days. I was fine.
Show, by the way, the show went really smoothly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I was not missed.
Really good stuff.
I was not missed at all while I was gone. All right. So explain to me. I want to get to this column that you wrote, but explain to me the fact that this Cole County prosecutor is not going to bring charges. Does that mean that the email controversy is dead and no charges are going to be brought against the governor?
You mean related to
the email, the charity, the email, the taking of the emails?
So there's a couple of separate issues related to that particular process. So the governor is charged with a felony in St. Louis. Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner charged him with felony computer tampering for allegedly taking the donor list from Mission Continues and using it in his campaign. That charge still stands, is making its way through the court system. What Josh Hawley, the Attorney General, had referred to Cole County prosecutor Mark Richardson is the fact that on the governor's Missouri Ethics Commission report, he states something that we now know not to be true from both evidence, the governor's words, the governor's attorney's words, the documents, etc. And that is that a former staff member of the governor's, Danny Laub, gave that donor list to the governor's office, and it was worth $600. That was what the governor agreed to in signing a document basically saying, oops, sorry, we broke Missouri ethics law. Here's what happened. That document, it is now pretty clear from all of the evidence out there, that document is inaccurate. It is a lie. It is wrong. And so it is a potential charge relating to that document, violation of Missouri ethics law. I don't know the exact charge, if it's lying on a document, if it's a specific misdemeanor related to ethics law. That's the charge that Josh Hawley referred to Mark Richardson. And Mark Richardson issues a 2-sentence statement saying, I'm not bringing charges. He doesn't say anything about whether or not he thinks that there's actual evidence there as the Attorney General. Remember, these guys are all Republicans here. Mark Richardson, Governor Greitens, Josh Hawley. This is not a political particular situation. This is about the law. Josh Hawley is convinced and has said again, there's a law broken here, a Missouri ethics law that's been broken here. It needs to be prosecuted. Richardson said, no, not going to do it, without any explanation whatsoever. Remember, this is the guy who a couple of years ago prosecuted 23 black pastors from all over the state, including St. Louis, for daring to interrupt Senate proceedings by singing and praying in the Senate gallery. And he spent almost 2 years trying to prosecute them for that. But he's not going to take the governor to court over a pretty clear violation of Missouri ethics law.
Even though the Attorney General says there looks to be some type of something here, the Attorney General still says that, and yet he's not going to be.
And the problem is the Attorney General in most cases does not have original jurisdiction to bring charges. In a lot of cases, the Attorney General is kind of like the Missouri auditor, finds a problem and then refers it to a local prosecutor, and the local prosecutor has to make that decision. So unless somebody else gets involved here, unless the Attorney General can find a way to appoint a special prosecutor to look at that information, that situation right now is that it's not going to be charged.
All right. Now, the special prosecutor that was appointed yesterday is looking into the email picture. Does that supersede or get in the way of Kim Gardner looking at the computer tampering charge that is working its way through the system?
I don't know. Gene Peters Baker, the prosecutor from Kansas City, is now appointed special prosecutor to look at the invasion of privacy charge. And she's got about a month to look at the evidence. She can decide to charge. She can decide to charge something else if she thinks that Kim Gardner charged the wrong charge. Remember, in the time between when Kim Gardner charged the invasion of privacy, and now the woman has testified before the House committee, and that House committee issued a report that actually sounds a lot closer to a sexual assault charge than an invasion of privacy charge. There are some attorneys that I know speculating that Jean Peters Baker, if she brings a charge, might actually bring a different sort of charge than the invasion of privacy. But she may drop it. She may decide the case is too damaged because of Kim Gardner's alleged errors and the errors of her investigator. But so she's got that invasion of privacy charge. Kim Gardner still has the computer tampering charge. The defense attorneys for Governor Greitens say they believe that the same problems that existed on the invasion of privacy charge for Kim Gardner's office exist on the computer tampering charge. So I would not be surprised, although there has been no official discussion about this yet, that perhaps that charge gets sent to a special prosecutor too, so that Kim Gardner can remove herself from the case and any problems related to that.
With all that being said, Tony, that's the legal side of this. The political side of this, I guess we're sitting, waiting, and watching what comes out of Jefferson City, and are they drawing up articles of impeachment? What is going on down in Jefferson City?
Well, the Jay Barnes reconstituted investigative committee that, for all practical purposes, is now an impeachment committee, begins their work today. You know, they called themselves into session right after the end of the regular session last Friday, but for all practical purposes, Jay Barnes' new committee, which has it's the same 7 people as before, and then has 3 new members. They are beginning their work today, and over a period of the next few, probably weeks, they are going to be hearing evidence, much of the same evidence we've already seen in the House report, taking testimony, having discussion and hearings, and ultimately what I expect is most likely to happen is they will draw up articles of impeachment. They will pass that resolution on to the House in a regular legislative process. So basically, they're a committee. They pass a resolution. That resolution goes to the House. The Speaker brings it to the floor. They pass it or fail it. That process is going to take place over the next few weeks, and so we're going to be talking about the governor's impeachment all summer.
Yeah. 2 things, Tony Messenger, and that is, it seems like there seems to be some cold feet when it comes to impeachment by some people who were once out in front and now not so sure, or am I reading that incorrectly?
I'm sure that the governor's political team is doing everything they can to put pressure on people to get cold feet. CNN had a report published yesterday by Rebecca Berg, a former Post-Dispatch political intern, that says that the FBI is very active in the Capitol, asking people about whether or not they are being pressured or offered campaign dollars for their impeachment vote. So that is a strong indication that, yes, there's a lot of pressure going on. From what I hear talking to people in the background is that the House is pretty firmly committed. The key leaders in both the House and the Senate believe that the governor has committed multiple impeachable offenses, and they are committed to going forward. And they would not have gotten to this point, to the special session, without feeling like they have the votes. They may not have every single vote counted, but in traditional legislative parlance, when you have leaders that control both the House and Senate and they've got a supermajority and everything else, they don't take big risky steps if they haven't already counted the votes. And so the fact that they called them into special session, had such huge numbers on the petition to call them into special session, with people having to put their name on the line just to go to that process, and the fact that the evidence is getting stronger, not weaker, as this process goes on, at least in terms of impeachable offenses. Because remember, their standard is not the same as a criminal court.
Yeah.
I believe there may be some people whose votes are going to be pulled off, but I think the likelihood is that the governor is headed towards an impeachment and then a trial in the Senate.
Tony, we're out of time. I want to talk to you about this John Brunner, Eric Greitens article, the column you wrote, which was great, by the way. We'll talk about it on Thursday. Thanks for checking in.
Great. And we'll also talk about the fact that I've never heard you tell a baseball story where you didn't throw a foul ball.